afternoon, everyone. This is RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, February 19, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Do we have any time for change call tonight after 9:15 p.m. Eastern? We're going to talk about what it's going to look like in this country and around the world after all this extraction is said and done, and quell some disinformation out there about the monies. As you've heard me talk about before, there's a recorder that we all have. It's very detailed, so whatever the conscious mind thinks and believes, the subconscious identically creates, Brian Adam. So it's like our recorder. So everything we do, every thought, whatever it may be, the subconscious mind records it and then randomly plays it back whenever. Now there is a way of all of us living our life that is so conscious, so purely intentional and alive, that we are guaranteed to manifest the life we desire. That sounds pretty cool. It happens when you understand and practice the basic manifesting principles of this universe. The first is that your thoughts create your reality in every moment, as we know, and that you are pure consciousness behind each thought. You may choose or not choose to entertain. And this consciousness, which is revolutionary, empowering, is already here now. And when we stop all efforting, scheming, and trying to find it or create it, we instantly see the simple fact that it is here right now. Now it's like, do you want to become richer, more lovable, successful, or even more conscious? That is all fine and dandy. Just know that these are ideas and not the potent, powerful essence of who we are. Consciousness instantly reveals itself when we realize that we are not this mind or its desires. And the pure conscious, the pure state of consciousness is unlocking our vision of reality for us to enjoy. And as we decide to perceive it in each moment all around us, it loves you that much. You surrender to it. Investigate this pure consciousness that is here now and how there is nothing we can do to change it. We have a challenging life. Some of us have really challenging lives. And why is that? It is a toughie because we practice, we even though you say, well, okay, I have these thoughts and I create this stuff. How much do you believe of that deeply? Or is it just superficial? And we all become over-identified with the mind and certain thoughts that it becomes attached to or avoids. And it can get hooked like Velcro to certain roles, ideas, feelings, memories, and experiences that make us feel trapped. It's no different than a spider being caught in its web. The more it struggles, the more wrapped up and stuck it gets. The only way out of this mind trap is to surrender to the source, to the God, to the pure consciousness of who we are. But we have those little things that come in. You know, how much do we trust ourselves? How much do we trust the God that we are? How much faith do we have in ourselves? How much confidence? These are all key parts to determine whether or not we can overcome the mind. So we can dismantle the mind rather than play the game it wants us to play. So it's like you're there, you're over here, and the mind is there. And so the mind does its thing. You know, weaves the web it wants to weave. Yet what we do is we choose to focus on the light and consciousness within. We focus on the God that we are, not the mind. And this is the most enlightening and empowering place to be. And will greatly increase our manifesting vibration. We will become a super manifesting magnet for what we want. So, it is very crucial to be wise about choosing what you want. The experiences that you'll attract to you can only bring you into a more enlightened perspective when you abide in the knowing that consciousness is natural, effortless, and the essential eternal state of who and what you already are. It's a good thing to be curious about this consciousness. Now, if you think you know it, right, let that thought go. It's just a thought, and not actually pure consciousness itself. Drop all ideas about who you truly are and liberate yourself completely. And this consciousness is truly unknowable, cannot be pinned down as something that you understand once and are forever done with it. It is an infinite, as this universe, and is here for you to explore throughout your entire lifetime. Your job is to gently unfold it and discover this dynamic divine being that you already are. See, we spend so much time in the mind that we don't go within. We don't focus on the God, the pure consciousness, because we're always in the mind. And the mind is the double duty master and purveyor. And all the things that come in from the mind, most of us, we embrace those thoughts. We think that they're ours, and we bring them into our reality and we experience them. It's just like watching. If you've ever gone and watched, at an airport bus, whatever, a lot of people watch people. They just sit and watch. Excuse me. But you don't interact. You don't judge. You're just watching. You imagine that. Some of us will just watch and judge. Oh, look at that dress, or oh, look at that coat, or look at that hairdo. What were they thinking? And instead, you just watch. You watch all these people walking by, but you're not interacting. It's a big difference. Okay? Because I could guarantee you, if you were interacting, after you were done, you would feel real heavy. You wouldn't feel light at all. Now, you would feel really light if you weren't engaging. You were just watching. See, this is what, if you really want a finite comprehension about you being in your heart mind and not the ego mind, not the mind, you're doing the opposite. You're not engaging, you're not interacting, you're not judging yourself or others or anything. And you're just watching everything, observing. One might say, what's the point of that? To watch. Because everything you watch or being is teaching you something. It's like you're in this huge schoolroom. There's no walls, there's no ceiling. It's just huge. It's just as far as the eye can see. And every single thing is teaching you something. It's like you do something, right? It could be anything. And you mess up from the standpoint of saying, oh, I put the screw in wrong, or I did this wrong, didn't work. But you learn from it. Everything we do, we are learning. No matter how minuscule, no matter how tiny, we are learning. And the really interesting thing about this is that when we know that and we embrace it, we begin to leave the mind alone. The mind becomes less and less and less. Why is that? You're not interacting with it. You aren't. You're not interacting with the mind. You're not taking those thoughts and using them as your own. We have, all of us. None of us are exempt from it. But you get to a point where you say, I don't really care to do that anymore. I've done that, and I've learned from it. But I'm going to go over here and focus on what I want in this life. See, we're so used to, with the mind influencing us all the time, the mind will take us where? It will take us to areas of things that we focus on that we don't want. We don't want it to happen. We don't want this. We don't want that. And we all do it. And it's so ingrained in us, we don't think about it. We just do it. We gravitate to if something pops up, right? And you're looking at it and you go, wow, that can't be that way, right? And so you get this kind of a sinking feeling, and you begin to what? You stress, right? Believe it or not, every one of us, to varying degrees, have anxiety. Now, you may not know it, and you may not interpret it as that, but all of us have different forms of anxiety. And one might say, well, why is that? Because the mind is the master. And it has been the master for a very, very, very long time. Doesn't it make sense that we figure this out, and we shift gears, we go in different directions. So I am not going to engage the mind anymore. It's going to do its own thing anyway, right? Because it will. It'll do its own thing, weave its own web, whatever. But you will be inside communing with the God that you are. And so, in other words, getting things ship-shape. All the stuff that you've carried or carrying, you face off with it. You sit with it. You figure out why it's there. Okay? And when you figure out why it's there, it disappears. And you do that with, the stuff that you've carried that it might be other lifetimes. And most people don't know that, but you carry this stuff. You never really visit it. It's there. And then you finally say, you know what? I don't really care to have this anymore. I'm not interested in carrying it. It's too heavy, and it just drags me down. So I'm going to literally sit with it and address it once and for all. Not in anger, not in frustration, none of that. Just very lovingly, you sit with it, whatever these things may be that you're carrying. And we all do carry things. You address it, and it will, I guarantee you, it will disappear. It'll just disappear. And why? Okay, so why would we harbor things that throughout our life, whatever's happened, whatever we've been exposed to, all right, that we carry with us? It's almost like we feel kind of comfortable carrying it. And every now and then it will influence us to do certain things or feel certain ways. Doesn't it make sense that we would clean the slate so that our journey within ourselves is much less obstacled. And we've got all these things. You know yourself. You do. You have learned to know yourself. Not through judgment, that's ego mind, but through heart-mindedness. You know that you're a omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant being in that body that never dies. That's a fact. It isn't even debatable. You also know that you had things that you embraced that you no longer carry with you. You learned all you could from it, right? So after that, why would you carry it with you? It's just pretty much you know it, you've embraced it, and you have surrendered it. Just let it go. And the God source, of which you are, we all are, is everywhere. It is everywhere. It doesn't matter. Isn't that crazy? It is everywhere, yet the majority of us have not discovered it within ourselves. And most of us, the secret to discovering it is in being vulnerable, open, and receptive to this very moment, where you decide to be honest with yourself about what your experience is. And then tell that experience, let that experience go. If you have if the resistance is there, become that wall and let it go. Explore every experience that arises until it is finished. And your life will become more rich, than you could possibly imagine. Consciousness is not cold, hard, or rigid by any means. It contains a sacred warmth that you only find in the heart of it. This love is the love of your essence. It is already inside your heart, right here and now. You surrender to what is true and real. Like in these meditations, we find a comfortable place. We make sure we don't have any outside distractions. We relax into our bodies. We're as still as we can be. And we focus on our breath rising and falling. This is where you're relaxing into the pure consciousness, the God that you are, the God source, the kingdom of God, the heaven. Now, for some, this may be the hardest or easiest thing that they've ever explored. So if you first don't find it, just relax deeper. It is always, already here now. All it takes is total surrender to what is, the very now moment. That's it. We don't have anything else. We can't count on anything else. We can't be attached to anything else. Just the now. And the now is fleeting. The now is fleeting. But yet, we are still drawn most of our morning, day, and night by yesterday and tomorrow. But the cool thing is that if you're aware of it, right? If you're aware that you're in yesterday and tomorrow, that's half of it right there. And then you can choose, is that I'm going to move over here to the now. Not interested in yesterday. And I'm really not interested in tomorrow. I'm only interested in the now, because I know the only thing that any of us will ever have is the now. It's true. If someone is saying, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Right? Well, if you knew that you had no guarantees for tomorrow, really, and we're not talking negative here, it's just a fact that none of us have any guarantees for tomorrow. So your response would be, if you were in the now, right? I have no idea, because I'm only in the now. I'm in the moment. That's how I live, in the moment, in the now. Now, I'm not saying that that is a easy thing for many, because it isn't. Because the habit is the opposite of that. You go to bed at night. What are you thinking about? Tomorrow. In fact, you might be thinking a month from now, or 2 months from now, or 3 months from now, or a year from now. And then you catch yourself, you say, why am I expending energy focused on something that isn't even here? Why am I not focused on the now, the very moment, moment to moment to moment? Then you finally recognize that by doing this, all that other stuff that all of us are exposed to on a second-to-second basis, 24/7, every lifetime, isn't there. It isn't there. All that stuff that we're presented with, right, through the ego mind, the worry, the stress, the fear, the anxiety, living in yesterday and tomorrow, the mind chatter, the noise, it isn't there. It's gone. And we begin to recognize this, and we say, wow, this is really nice. That stuff's not even there, because I've left it alone. You can watch things happen, right? Whatever it may be. All of us can watch things happen, but we don't engage them. We're out here watching. We're not engaging. And by watching, we learn. We experience. And this is how we begin to transition knowingly, with awareness, to the now, to the heart mind, in the heart mind. Wouldn't you believe that that would be motivational enough for many to say, why would I stay with the ego mind? Why would I stay with it? Because I've been there for so long, I know it inside and out. There's no reason for us to stay with it. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. But there comes a point, no matter what it is, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, is that we move on. See? We don't stay and repeat. We move on. We learn, we experience, we interface. We learn about ourselves. We learn that we are omnipotently powerful beings. We learn that we are immortal, the gods that we are. and these stop-offs, which is life, right? Because it's a temporary thing. And we experience that how we choose to experience it. There isn't anything laid out. You don't have a manual that directs you. You're the director, the producer. You are the writer. You're all of it. Choreographer. You're the whole 9 yards. You do it all. And this is how your life will be, depending on how you deem it to be. Depending on where you send your thoughts and what directions, and how you depend it to be. And if you're in ego mind, it's an absolute freak show. But to you, it's life. And some of us determined that, now, okay, that's good. Let's put that to bed. Now, I want to know everything I can know about the now, about the heart-mind, about the God I am in this body. See, when you master something, you move on to master something else. We, all of us, gods, in these bodies, for eons, have really mastered to the extent of knowing what the ego mind is, how we are seduced by it and directed by it, guided by it, controlled by it. And we experience this, we choose to no longer allow it to have that function, to master us. We choose to leave it alone and begin to master the heart-mind. Because really, we're none of it. It's only there for us to experience. That's it. If it wasn't, we would all be really bored. So you watch and you learn. That's what we do. We watch and we learn. And everything is a teacher. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be another being. It could be something you're doing that you've never done before. And then you say to yourself, wow, that's a boo-boo. Well, I'll try it this way. That doesn't work. I'll try it. Oh, that works. That works better. And it really is fun. It's entertaining. Can't ask yourself in the quiet time of this meditation, can you enjoy the ride? Can you enjoy the ride with this life? Because all it takes is total surrender to what is. And you enjoy the ride. Have you ever asked yourself that? You might say to yourself, can I enjoy the ride? Because everything is as it is. It's what is. And then you leave it alone. And it's like I say to myself all the time, you float. You could be in a body of water, let's say. You got everybody just swimming and splashing and getting somewhere. They're not sure where they're going, but they where are you going? I'm going up here. Everybody else is up here. I got to get there. And you're just floating. And all this splashing going by you can't really, you've tuned out. You just see the motion of everything. You don't hear it. And you're just floating. You're enjoying the feeling of floating, the ease, the relaxation into your body, and that's it. Nothing is really You're not pushing and having to get there. It's like the tortoise and the hare. The hare was such in a hurry to get there, and the tortoise just kind of moseyed along and ended up winning the journey, the destination. And you've heard me talk about it several times, is that slow down. If you're going to do anything wonderful for yourself, slow down. Make a concerted effort to slow. When you do things, do them at half speed. And the ego mind kicks in. Oh, that's like an old person, And then they'll say they're not old people, and why would I have to slow down? It's all ego mind. You know what slowing down does? It moves you into a state of peace. That's what slowing down does. And as you slow down, you begin not to worry, stress, or fear. You know that whatever you're doing, you will do. There's no time limit. There's no finish line. You just do it in everything. And then you'll realize that, why didn't I know this before? Because it is so much better. It puts me so much more at ease than rushing. And see, we rush in different ways, and we don't know it, because we're so used to doing it. Savor every breath. Joining the meditation, I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. Give yourself 100% permission to feel any fearful sensations hiding inside your body. Explore where they are in you, what their limiting beliefs are, and what they need to relax. This exploration leads to the discovery of the most valuable gem in the world. Within your deepest darkness is your brightest, most brilliant light. It's buried deep inside. That one thing you're avoiding and distracted from doing today. Mastering your fear vibe is a great liberation of your soul, is seeking. Let us deeply, eternally love the moment you can truly relax and feel everything that's inside your sacred vessel. It all begins with welcoming into your heart whatever fears that you have inside you today. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night. The following morning, we will return here tonight after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call, and Thursday, February 20, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.